This place is ancient, like a world between worlds.
At the end of the official first half of Ahsoka, Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano finds herself back at the world between worlds, a place that serves as an alternate plane of existence in the Star Wars universe, transcending the boundaries of time and space. It can only be reached through the power of the Force. Dave Filoni, the showrunner of the Star Wars Rebels, revealed that the inspiration for the world between worlds was drawn from C.S. Lewis's novel, The Magician's Apprentice. In Lewis's work, a deranged scientist stumbled upon the wood between the worlds, a mystical forest where each pool connected to a distinct point in space-time, providing access to various other realms, which sounds similar to the wardrobe that connects the Earth and Narnia. In the Star Wars rendition, while the concept is more abstract, clear homage is paid to Lewis's work with the inclusion of portraits within the world between worlds. In this video, we will explore everything there is to explore and understand about this mysterious, ethereal, and netherworld-like plane. And since Ahsoka has found herself there, does that mean she is dead? Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. So, what is the world between worlds? The exact nature of this unreal place, this world between worlds, is still rather shrouded in mystery, but we do know that it is a place where two major aspects of the Force converge into a singularity, or a union. The first is the living force, which is related to all things that live, and the other is the cosmic force, which actually binds the universe together into a singular entity. In here, one has to be extremely careful while moving and wishing for what one wants. I mean, it's not some regular dimension where you could go about unworried. Here, things that happen will have a bearing on the future, the present, and sometimes even the past. The world between worlds, also known as the Virgin Scatter, was detailed in the Chain Worlds Theorem, a concept recorded in the sacred Jedi text preserved in the Jedi Temple on Ahch-To. Its accessibility was linked to a depiction of the Mortis gods, father, daughter, and son, who adorned the exterior of the Jedi Temple on the planet Lothal. Native to Lothal, the Loth Wolves had a unique connection to the world between worlds, allowing them to traverse this realm much like how starships navigate through hyperspace. The Mortis Gods' painting served as the key to unlocking the entrance to this dimension, aided by the temple's keystone, which a Force-sensitive individual would place their hand upon the daughter's encircled hand to activate. Consequently, the figures of the Loth Wolves within the painting would shift away from the gods and form a circular configuration, creating the portal to the world between worlds. However, if a Force-sensitive person placed their hand on the son's encircled fist, it would first prompt the painting of the father to conceal the entryway and the entire temple itself, sealing off access to the world between worlds. Ahsoka's writer, Dave Filoni, explained that everything that Ezra wished for in the world between worlds was extremely dangerous. Every time he had said something out loud, there was a thunderclap, which was a sign that someone or something was actually listening to him. To quote him, "There's multiple things going on in there, and everything becomes a choice between how you want to use power and control and influence others." Ezra's story from Rebels. So, what exactly happened with Ezra in the world between worlds? So, the power-hungry Emperor Palpatine, also known as the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, discovered the Jedi Temple on Lothal. Being the supreme authority of the Galactic Empire, he then sends his Imperial Ministry, led by Minister Varys Hydan, to the place so that they could find the entry point of the world between worlds. Of course, Darth Sidious wanted only the power to control fate, and not the knowledge and wisdom that the world between worlds possesses in abundance. However, their elaborate plan was turned to dust when Jedi Padawan Ezra Bridger discovered the entry point before Minister Varys Hydan. After finding himself in the world between worlds, Ezra saw a portal where Darth Vader and Ahsoka were fighting to death. But just before Darth Vader could end Ahsoka's life, Ezra pulled her into the world between worlds, thereby saving her life. So, that's how Ahsoka managed to survive Darth Vader in the second season's last episode of Star Wars Rebels. But he did not do it on his own accord. He was actually prompted by a creature called Morai, who was actually a long-lost friend of Ahsoka. But Morai could very well be the manifestation of who we know as the Daughter in the Force, who was a female Force wielder native to the ethereal world of Mortis. In Season 3 of the Clone Wars, the Daughter transferred whatever remained of her life force when Ahsoka was about to die. Anyway, after Ezra saved Ahsoka Tano, they closed the portal and returned to their own spots in time. This ensured that others like Darth Sidious, who wanted to misuse the powers of the world between worlds, failed in doing so. The Lothal Temple practically collapsed, and it took down Minister Hydan along with it. However, later, Tano found another portal that led to the mysterious realm. Ahsoka in World Between Worlds. Now, there had always been extremely strong evidence the TV show Ahsoka would feature this enigmatic world. For instance, the first trailer for the show showed Ahsoka exploring whatever remained of the destroyed Lothal Temple. There were carvings that evoke the World Between Worlds. Later, she could be seen fighting warriors from the Imperial Army. Now, it only makes sense that she's back on the World Between Worlds. Is Ahsoka dead? The World Between Worlds serves multiple purposes, including enabling time travel. It is also known as the Netherworld of the Force, as mentioned by Yoda in Star Wars Episode 3, which was titled Revenge of the Sith. This realm represents the afterlife, where individuals go after becoming one with the Force. It helps explain the appearance of Anakin Skywalker at the end of Ahsoka Episode 4. This concept was first introduced as a netherworld between worlds in the Star Wars book in 2020, and Star Wars Timelines also refer to it in this way. The idea of controlling life and death would have been a significant temptation for Emperor Palpatine. At the end of Episode 3, Ahsoka was thrown off a cliff, and she found herself in the World Between Worlds. Since this place is a netherworld, there is a possibility that she might have perished. However, it seems unlikely that Ahsoka is deceased, as Star Wars Rebels demonstrated that living beings can enter this realm. It's more plausible that the ruins on Seatos contain another entrance to the World Between Worlds, or Ahsoka is experiencing it in her mind, as Anakin's spirit tries to communicate with her. Whatever the explanation, Ahsoka Episode 5 promises to shed light on how she arrived there, and what the return of Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker signifies for the Star Wars franchise. What's up with time travel in Star Wars? In the more than 4 decades long history of Star Wars, the franchise has used probably all the sci-fi character tropes that exist, and all the sci-fi concepts there are to explore. I mean, they've got everything from clones and robots to giant space armies and the strangest of creatures. So, it somewhat becomes obvious that time travel should be a dear friend to Star Wars, but that's not really the case. Star Wars has stayed kind of distant from actually imbibing the time travel concept, and maybe for the right reasons. Take Endgame for instance. Even the directors and the writers don't get along on the temporal mechanics they use to travel in time. Having said that, many Star Wars characters have perceived time in peculiar ways, of course through the connection they have with the Force, which is the energy field created by all life that binds everything in the universe together. And yet, actual people traveling through time in their physical form is not something that we see regularly in Star Wars. In fact, time travel concepts like flow walking, through which a Jedi could change the past, were disregarded by Disney as legends or non-canonical material. But there has been a recent shift in Disney's take on the physical time travel, which saw the light of day in the 4th season of Star Wars Rebels. In this rather mainstream show, the lead protagonists and antagonists discovered the existence of something called the World Between Worlds, which is a mysterious, ethereal, netherworld-like realm that is beyond the very concepts of space and time. Ezra Bridger used this realm to carry out something that became a major turning point in the franchise's Disney-era canon, something the ripples of which will be felt for years to come. Let's check out what it is. The introduction of World Between Worlds in Star Wars is both bold and risky. The inclusion of time travel within the Star Wars universe is undeniably one of the boldest storytelling choices made during the Disney era of the franchise. While it undoubtedly opens up a plethora of exciting narrative possibilities, it could also turn out to be significantly risky for the franchise. Can't say it won't be absolutely exciting if Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker went back in time to meet Anakin, before Anakin became an evil guy, or if someone from the prequel trilogy found their way into the sequels. However, these are things that bring about colossal continuity conundrums and turmoil in the franchise. Movies like X-Men, Days of Future Past, or DC's Flashpoint Paradox often use time traveling to actually erase irregularities and consequences from less popular or convoluted story arcs. But that cannot be done for a franchise like Star Wars. That's because the franchise and its events are so deep-rooted in the minds of fans that making any strong changes would become extremely unpopular. While there may be a vocal minority of viewers who wish for the World Between Worlds to be used to reshape events from the sequel trilogy, it's generally more prudent for future storytellers to build upon the existing foundation, both the highs and lows, rather than attempt to rewrite it. I mean, the sole idea of a sequel or a spin-off series is to ensure that the lore gets enriched instead of being redacted, right? Marvelous verdict. The future of time travel within the Star Wars franchise remains uncertain. The Ahsoka series is currently serving as a live-action sequel to Rebels, and is actually continuing many of its key storylines. This has led fans to speculate about the potential expansion of the World Between Worlds mythology, and what brings it to the table. But there's no guarantee of how things would pan out if World Between Worlds is given more importance than it deserves. With the ongoing quest to find Emin Esfandi's Ezra and Lars Mikkelsen's Grand Admiral Thrawn, Ahsoka's complex partnership with Natasha Liu Bordizzo's Sabine, and their clashes with Dark Jedi Balin and Shin, the series is already packed with multiple narrative threads. Do we really need more? Introducing the world between worlds and time travel might risk making the storyline overly convoluted and superfluous, but that's what I think. Let me know what your take is on the world between worlds and its use in the franchise's future projects. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone!